Have you ever found yourself filling out a long survey and giving up halfway through because you felt like no one was going to look at the results anyway? This is called survey fatigue. One way of fighting it is to write an introduction to your survey. This helps make sure respondents have an incentive to finish all of your questions. Having an introduction also makes it more likely that you'll get quality feedback. Your respondents will know exactly why you're asking for certain information and will be able to provide more accurate answers. Hi, I'm Sabina Fox, a content manager at Survicate. In this video, I'm going to show you what to say in a survey introduction, how to add one to your survey, and how you can use question introductions to personalize your customer's experience. A survey introduction can be added in Survicate as a question type. It's called a welcome message. You can add it any time during your survey creation process. There's no character limit and you can include as much information as you want, but I would suggest brevity just to avoid overwhelming your participants. You can use HTML to style your introduction with features like italics and bolded fonts, as well as add links. Select it and hover over the selection, and then you will see these three options. Make it bold, make it italic, but just let's get rid of that for now, just to add a link. Let's say we choose the word complete as the link. Let's double click that link, paste the link to this or my previous video, and you can see that the word complete becomes a hyperlink. And in the bottom left corner, you can see the address it's going to go to. You can even add images to your introduction, and you do this by going to settings, then add image, and you can just drag and drop your image from a Finder or from a folder you have stored on your computer. Note, you can only add images with email and shareable link surveys, and the file size must be under 2 megabytes. In settings, you can also change the button label, so the copy on this little button that your respondents can click to start the survey. Make sure your welcome message comes before the first question, unless you want to use it in a different way, for a different purpose. For example, if you have a long survey, for example, in this one we have 12 questions, you can use it after the 6th one to let your customers know they're halfway through. This will also help fight question fatigue. The welcome message question type itself won't generate results you can really analyze, just how many people actually click the button. So let's go to the Analyze tab so I can quickly show you what that would look like. You can also welcome and invite your customers to fill out a survey in the email body when you send a link via your ESP. You'll have a code to copy in the Share tab, right here. And you can just copy that and paste it into your ESP. And then here's a preview of what the first question or the welcome message will look like. You can even add a separate introduction to each of your questions. The purpose of that is to either give more information as to the purpose of the question, you can give your respondents some instructions, or you can use question introductions to personalize your respondents' experience. But let's go back to the instructions. For example, if you create a multiple choice question, but don't want customers to pick more than, for example, 3 options, you can write those instructions right in the question introduction. And you also have the setting to actually limit those options, so it will be impossible to provide more than 3. So let's just do an example. What is your favorite dog breed? And we give some options, Dalmatian, Boxer, Yorkshire Terrier, and a Beagle. And then you give the instruction to please pick up to 3 breeds, so no more than 3. And to actually restrict that, you go to your settings right above here. And you can see the selection limit. And it's a range from 1 to unlimited, but we'll set 3. And now the respondent won't be able to choose more than 3 options. We briefly mentioned survey logic and question introduction, so let's see how this would work with a simple example. The NPS question is always something along the lines of, how likely are you to recommend us to someone like you? And then customers can choose a number between 0 and 10, and then they become either NPS detractors, passives, or promoters. Here's a Survicate template and how it works. So let's just fill the survey out 3 times. First we have promoters, so either 9 and 10. You can see I chose 10, so I'm a promoter, and the question introduction is, happy to hear, tell us more. But if we were to fill it out a bit differently, for example, let's do number 1 as a detractor. You can see the question introduction says, we're sorry to hear that. And then the last one as passives, we just say that's not too bad at all. And then respondents can provide some additional information to let you know whether there's a quick way to turn into a promoter. And we're just going to recreate that in a survey builder to show you how survey logic works. So you choose NPS from the drop-down, from the types of questions. And then you can see we already have the copy and the 0 to 10 rating, but we don't have any follow-ups. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 3 more questions, one for detractors, one for passives, and one for promoters. And they're all going to be text answers because obviously you want more information from your respondents. So you can see that we already have some suggestions. You can always use the automatic suggestions to make your survey creation process faster. And let's just say this would be for your promoters. What do you most like about our product? And then we're going to add an introduction, and we're going to be happy about their response because obviously they gave us either a 9 or a 10. And now one for the detractors. We're sorry to hear that. And then the last one for passives, just asking for more details. And we're going to add an introduction. That's not too bad at all. And now it's the time to set up our rules in our survey logic. So you go back to the NPS question, you go to logic, and then with each click we're going to add another rule. So we need 3 so that everyone gets an appropriate response based on their answer. Add new logic, and if answer is between, let's say 0 and 6 for now, so those are our detractors. Then we want them to go to, let's see, it's question 4. So we're going to pick question 4. Let's make another one. If the answer is between 7 and 8, those will be passives, and that was question number 5. So then go to question number 5, and then the last one is for our promoters, is between 9 and 10, the best scores, apply. And then that was question number 3. That was meant for our promoters, so number 3. And remember, each of those follow-up questions need their own survey logic as well. So immediately after an answer is given, you need to set up a rule to end the survey. So let's test our survey and answer it 3 times. Sure, let's start. So now we are an NPS detractor. We're sorry to hear that, so that's the appropriate follow-up question. Now let's fill it out as a passive. 7. That's not bad at all, so that was our response for passives, so that worked. Last thing, let's be a promoter, 9. That's great to hear. So our survey logic worked. Okay, you can avoid doing all of that by obviously using our survey template, which is already filled with your survey rules, your logic, and of course the appropriate question introductions as responses to previous answers. Maybe you already know how you want to introduce a survey. There is no one-fits-all solution. Every survey is different, so different type of information might be appropriate. But if you ever have writer's block, you can use our survey introduction template. You'll find a link in the description of this video. And if you are watching this from the post view, you can simply scroll down to see it. You can just copy and paste it right inside our tool, or you can send it as the body of the email where you're inviting participants to complete your survey. We also recommend you add a thank you screen. This is another question type, but make sure you add this one at the end because respondents won't have access to any questions that follow it. But what you can do is add some CTA actions your customers can perform when they've completed your survey. And there are 3 options. You can see auto redirect, button, and SM handles. So let's see what that's all about. If you choose auto redirect, you can add a link to, for example, your homepage or your social media, and then you can choose how long you want the delay to be. So, for example, 3 seconds. Respondents will look at the thank you screen for 3 seconds and then be redirected. If you choose a button, there will be no delay, but customers will only be redirected if they actually click the button. And you can, of course, customize the text on the button, the copy of it. And you have the option of choosing whether the link opens in the same tab or a new one. And lastly, you can also add links to your social media profiles. So, for example, let's add Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And then, as you can see, these branded buttons appear. They pop up as you enter the addresses.